Oh, I'm back. I'm recording. Sorry for the interruption.
Okay, you got your Skype guys back on too?
Yes, they're back on. Yes. You're Gary there. You're there, Gary, right?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, good.
Okay. Got to thinking about a couple things there last night, and basically everything out here in court and the IRS and a lot of places out here, they say to pay either by cash, check, or money order. They never say by bill of exchange or anything like that. They always want a money order. Well, we always thought that basically the money order was a postal money order that they were talking about. But if you go into Valentine's dictionary and look up the definition of a postal or post office money order, you're going to find out something very unique. And I've got it on the document there. It says, an order for payment of money issued by a postmaster in accord with a money order system of the United States Postal Service established for convenience and safety in the remission of funds. 39 U.S.C. 5, Section 501. It further goes on and says an order for payment of money to a payee named herein, drawn by one post office upon another under authority of an act of Congress and departmental regulations. Well, the act of Congress was H.R. J. 192, or whatever the hell that number was, okay, where they took everything into bankruptcy. And that's what basically they put in to fund all of these accounts. And you had to have a postal savings account set up. Well, the postal savings account was set up by the certificate of live birth when you registered or were registered, okay, into the system. The postal system in this country was set up the same year that they set up the United States for-profit government as a foreign corporation, 1871. The initial postal service was postal savings accounts were set up, and the people deposited their money into a postal savings account at the post office. The money was then borrowed by the government and issued out at a 3% fee. The 3% interest came back. The government took 1%, 2% was deposited into the savings account. Now that was all fine and good up until 1887, when they brought in the insurance bonding system into the country. Then in 1892, they needed to set up a special panel to adjust as adjusters or appraisers in the Treasury Department over these postal savings accounts. Okay, to basically take out the unnecessary funds that were being accrued because of the usury of the interest coming back in. Okay, now fast forward to 1913. Okay, they brought in, well, prior to that, they started setting up the certificate of live birth, and then in 1913, they brought in the Federal Reserve with foreign money monetary system of money and bonds and everything. Well, that same year, on October 13th, 1913, they set up a new tariff tax called income tax. This tariff tax was then applied to the savings accounts because you do not have to pay taxes on anything from 1% below return. But anything over 1%, you have to pay income tax on. So if you're getting 2%, you subtract off the 1%. Now that leaves 1% of the interest that you're getting back into that savings account that you have to pay income tax on. The income tax ratio was 0.35%, which is pretty much what the income tax ratio is out here. 0.35%. Because in the postal savings accounts we're getting 2% return. I thought it was less than that, but I got checking around and no, it's we're getting 2% back. That hasn't changed. But the government is picking up another 0.35% off of their 1%, and now they're even putting it out at a higher percentage, at 5% or so. So they're getting extra payments back in from what they originally were loaning the money out for. So now you know why you have to pay income tax. It's on your postal savings account. And that's where our certificate of live birth was. When we went into bankruptcy in 1933, they took the National Treasury and divided it up amongst all the registered people. Okay? Gave them their portion and put it into these postal registered savings accounts. The other pool of money stayed off to the side, and basically the rest of the people that were not registered, that are nationals in the country, would have to make a request against that Treasury account. Okay? But anybody that's registered, you have a postal savings account. Now, that postal savings account was set up under a postal savings account number, a 9-digit number. That 9-digit number is your passport number. To claim that postal savings account, you have to apply for a passport. Now you have your identification and you have your signature card that allows you to access that postal savings account. So the passport has a dual function, well, really a triple function. It gives you access to your postal savings account, it gives you safe harbor, and it gives you safe passage, both here and abroad. So that is one 9-digit number that we have. Now, to take a look at the postal money order that I put up there and see, we are a postmaster. We have a post office. You have the main post office, which is the 5-digit, okay? That's the corporate post office. Then each individual mailbox is another post office. And that post office can have more than one postmaster, because everybody that receives and sends mail out through that post office is an individual postmaster. They utilize that same number. So you have the post office number, the 5-digit number, and then dash the 4-digit number. Okay? Now, that comes up to 9 digits. That's your second set of 9 digits. Then you need to have a Treasury routing number, just like a bank routing number. That Treasury routing number is either the Social Security number, or if you have basically declared your Social Security person dead, you have an estate EIN number for that dead person. Those two numbers are both 9 digits. Now you have your third 9 digit that is going on this postal money order. Now you have 9, 9, and 9. 3 nines. Now you turn them upside down and you have what? You have the mark of the beast. 666. They also sort of look like little spades, and you can dig up your coffin or your treasure chest with those 3 numbers. That is what we needed all along, was these 3 numbers to basically open up the combination to our accounts. We come in as the postmaster, and we send it to another postmaster, either to the bank or to the Treasury. And the postmaster of the Treasury is the secretary of the Treasury. His post office number, postmaster number, is 20220-0001. He's the number 1 postmaster at that post office. Okay? So, pretty much everything is on that money order. The U.S. post office number is your 5-digit - 4-digit zip code plus your box number. The postmaster tracking number is whatever number you want to make it. Okay? Now that postmaster tracking number is also the money order number that goes down at the bottom of the page to where it says front of postal money order. You would put that same number in there. And then also on the back side of the page, to where it says back of postal money order number, you would put that number there too. So that tracking number goes in 3 places. Okay? Then the Treasury routing number is either going to be your Social Security number or your estate EIN number. This postal money order right now is only for the citizen, U.S. citizenship postal account. Passport postal savings account, you might say. And then the U.S. citizen postal account number is your passport 9-digit number, your citizenship 9-digit number. You can send this either into the Treasury or a Treasury agent at your state level and have them process it to the IRS. They're part of the Treasury. I sent one into the Secret Service for $250,000 at the state level. I sent another one for $500,000 into the Treasury Department, to the Secretary of the Treasury. As soon as I get confirmation on that, I'm going to turn right around and put one in for the full amount. And basically in the memo line saying, I am ordering the closure of this postal passbook savings, Treasury savings account. I'm closing it down. Just like a regular, you go into a regular bank and you're going to close down your savings account. You write out a check, full value, and basically the reason to close out the account. That's the order that you're giving them. Now, all other items out here are attached to these savings accounts. In most cases, like your driver's license, like your other items, they're not going to come into closure until you close down the postal savings account. They're going to stay on the books. We should be able to close them down individually, but in a lot of cases, no, they're not going to do it. Okay, because we haven't given them the payoff order the right way to bring those into closure. So you can deposit this right into a bank, okay, and have them, because what you're doing is you're doing a pass the book transfer obligation with this postal money order. You're transferring the obligation over to the bank. The bank now has to process that out to the Treasury, to the Secretary of the Treasury, to that Postmaster, to bring about the settlement. Because that's the one that we're under contract that they have to make the payment. Okay, the other post office number that you have to put down is down below on the countersigned by the executive officer, is the American, and you are an American National Postmaster. And that's going to be the zip code plus 4-digit number also. And then I think everything else is pretty explanatory. Now on the back, you have an endorsement, okay? And basically, you for delivery in cash to the presentee, if you present this at a bank or wherever to a Treasury window, you would get cash right there. Or for post office, deliver to post office address. Have them bring it to you. Or the third item is to have them deposited directly into a commercial bank routing number and account number. I wanted them to bring it to me in cash. I want to talk to these guys and know that they're really there. And then basically, the pass the book obligation is has to be authorized by a U.S. banking agent or Treasury agent. And see, that's where the courts come into play. They are banking agents. They're not Treasury agents, but they're court banking agents, just like your regular banks. And then when you pass the book to them, now they have to process that charge into the Department of the Treasury or the set-off. This transaction has to be completed in 3 days because that's under the laws of banking. Okay, now, if you go into Valentine's dictionary and you look up postal and post office in there, well, you're going to find one very unique item here. It's called Postal Certificates. Instruments issued to postal savings depositors, which could be surrendered in exchange for United States bonds. holy shit. I got a postal certificate called a certificate of live birth. Come on, people, wake up here. That's what that is. That's a postal certificate. Your DD-214, it's a postal certificate. Your certificate of title to your vehicle, it's a postal certificate. You can exchange those for either United States bonds or state bonds. They're attached to your postal savings account. Wow. But if you go to the bank, okay, with this, you're going to have a updated passport that's currently in issue, okay, a citizenship passport, okay, and you give them a copy of that, because now you have to have, and see, that passport is a signature card. It's a banking signature card. So they will have that on account there when you present your postal or your post office money orders for deposit or processing, whatever you want to do with them. Okay? Now, when we get the post the passport as a non-citizen national, we will be under a completely different situation, because at that point in time, we're going to close down the postal savings account and move the assets over into a post checking account, which will still be getting the dividends from our shares of stock in the country and our royalties from the nation. And also, if you have a DD-214, your military royalties would be deposited into this checking account, non-interest-bearing checking account, to where they cannot utilize it, but you can turn around and allow certain people to utilize your funds if you want to put it up as collateral. You have to start learning a little more about how money really functions.
Patrick, the background noise is building up. People have their mics open. Yes, I see a lot of it coming from Eplo. But there heard children in the background, lots of keyboard noise, and now there's some speaker going on. So I'm going to *5 everybody out.
*6 and *6 and everybody out, right?
Yeah, well, *5 knocks everybody out. They can come back in with
okay.
*6.
Okay. Okay, I'm back on. But that's pretty much it. When you look at that, I think I didn't take time to relook at the endorsement, but I think it was pretty close already for what we needed to put on the back of a bill when we get a bill from somebody, and that is a bill of exchange there, okay? And we would just turn around and put those that endorsement with the postal and the routing number and everything back onto that and send that back in. Also then, you could use the 1099A, Cs, and OIDs if you need to, but use the postal savings account number and the routing number in the process, okay? Your identification number is your account number. Your passport identification number. We are so damn close to totally being out of this thing. And so you get one of these money orders, now you're going to start getting recognition, okay, into the process. But be prepared. They're going to come and talk to you when this all takes place.
Hey, Patrick.
Yeah.
I sent in my passport to get rid of my U.S. citizen and to become a non-citizen national. Can I use my copy that I made of my passport to do this process? Or
well, yeah, basically just send. You don't need to send a copy into the Treasury, okay? Just put the numbers in there. Send it into the Treasury.
All right.
Okay, you can't do it at the bank because you don't have a passport to take into the bank. Right?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I was just wondering if me sending in my passport eliminated me from being able to do this step.
No, you haven't got the other one back yet, so basically it's still out there, okay? Or basically they'll come and tell you that was already been the process of being shut down. Do it, okay? Find out what's going on.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, don't be scared of this. I mean, you want out of the system. Start understanding how to get out of the system. But see, like I said, that certificate of live birth, that you can turn in for U.S. bonds. And what are U.S. bonds? They're gold-backed. Right? Yes, they are.
I hope so.
Okay, I'll tell you that, okay? That's why, basically, when that one person surrendered her certificate of live birth and her husband's certificate of live birth or his death certificate, basically she got somewhere in the neighborhood of about $3 billion in gold-backed bearer bonds. But you have to shut down these postal accounts, and you have to have your 3 9s. Then you turn them upside down, and now you have the passcode to go into the underworld and dig up your treasure and bring it back to the living world. See, 9s are standing up. 6s are underground.
That's amazing.
That's all that it is. I mean, and this 9-number system basically has been out there for a long time. I mean, if they talked about this in the Bible, they had to be using the same damn system.
Aren't there 9 judges at the International Trade Court?
Well, yeah, but it doesn't look like we have to go to the International Trade Court. Most of them are, you can't get through the clerk of the court's office because most of them are either idiots or they're just putting on a big show there that we didn't even need to get there. See, by doing this postal money order, we don't need them. They've already processed all the funds into the account, into the savings account. What goes in the savings account basically is ours. They've already taken out the income tax in a lot of cases out of the thing before it ever got deposited in there. So what is in the savings account, what has been recorded in there, that is ours, and that is lawful currency once it's in that savings account. Concur? I think it makes sense.
Yes, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I got that.
It makes it much simpler. Now we can get rid of the court case.
Yeah. And you can handle all of your other court cases. You just pass it over to them. Pass the book.
So we do need the non-citizen national passport, correct?
Down the road, yes, down the road, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, you still need to have a passport, okay? You don't need to have the U.S. citizen passport anymore if you're closing down your postal savings account.
Are we really closing it down, or are we just making a big withdrawal because we still going to have?
No, we're going to close it down, Tom.
And then where do we pick up the funds that come in later from the additional taxes?
They get automatically deposited into our national checking account.
Okay.
That's what I tried to say earlier.
I got interrupted.
Okay.
Hey, Patrick, you said when we use that full number, you know, the 5 and the 4 private box number, the 9 total tracking number, that's the American Postmaster, but it's also you're the master, meaning your name. Your master, like you said, you know, instead of Mr.
We are the American National Postmaster.
Right.
Yeah, we're the postmaster, one of the postmasters at our mailbox. There could be 25 people living in that house. Each one of them is a postmaster of their own mail. They can read what it says about postmaster, one who processes mail.
Right, that's the key to it right there. Plus all the other things, the other 3 things, 2 things you said. Yeah, I got it.
The receipt and distribution of mails from such office. Okay? And see, there could be 25 postmasters at that one post office. We're not like the public post office or the governmental post office to where there's only one postmaster there. At our public establishment, okay, our public house of ill repute, okay, because of all the nasties that go on.
Someone has a very loud keyboard there.
Yeah, I hear it too.
Sorry to interrupt, Patrick.
That's okay. That's why I put the postmaster definition on there, and then basically also the post office and money order definition, and then the pass the book definition, which comes out of financial Campbell Harvey's financial dictionary. Now, I don't know whether for sure the clerks there, that they're going to play games like, well, you're not following the rules. You're not following the rules. Well, we don't have to follow the rules. And I even gave them the court statute at large, Volume 1, Session 1, Chapter 20, Section 32. that says a court has to take our items in any form that is submitted to them, even chicken scratching. But now I don't know whether the guy was pulling my leg or not, but he said, "What are statutes so large?" And I mean, this is coming from a clerk of the court for one of the highest courts in the country. And I just about fell on my chair on that one. So I don't know whether these guys really don't know this stuff or basically they were just joshing with me. And I didn't take too much off of them. I laid everything onto them. And basically even in my package, they had more information. So the only thing I could see is that basically we did not need to be there. And if we do these post office money orders and shut these things down, we don't need to be there. Especially now that we've got the 3 9s that we can turn upside down and go into the underworld and dig up our treasure chest.
Interesting, because I just got done watching Ghost Rider, and that's where that contract was hidden, was inside the shovel.
Yep. Yeah, the second one isn't quite as good as the first one.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
Is this Ghost Rider or Ghost Rider?
Ghost Rider. Rider.
Right. I watched them both. Now, Patrick, with this money order, we don't need to send any other cover letter or anything else in, do we?
I would put a cover letter on it and address it that if this is not the right office, then in the Treasury, then it is to be forwarded to the correct Treasury office. That's what I told the Secret Service.
Okay.
See, they're a branch of the Treasury. No matter what they say, try and say, well, we're over with Homeland Security. No, they're not. They're still part of the Treasury Department.
So then, pretty much, we're not really messing with the 1099s anymore.
Well, if you need to, yeah, you can. But utilize the damn correct numbers. The passport number and the state or the Social Security number on there.
Well, I sent you a message on Skype. I don't know if you saw it.
No, I won't be able to get on Skype. I can't get on the internet anymore, okay?
All right, I'll ask you on here then. Yeah, well, pretty much
you guys,
I was...
You want to talk, you post it onto the group. You start utilizing the group, okay?
Okay. All right. But I was looking back in light of the passport, this uncovered passport information with being the passbook and everything, and I was looking back over the 1099s, ABCs, and OIDs, and rather than using the ZIP +4 as the payer's federal identification number, would it suffice to place the passport federal number there instead?
Yes. It says identification number, doesn't it?
Yes, that's why I was looking at it. I was like, well, that's the passport number.
That's the passport number. See, that's why we weren't getting anything, because we were using the wrong numbers in the wrong places.
Right.
And when you take this into court, one lady went into court, or not into court, she had a parole. She just gotten out of prison a couple weeks ago, and she had to go into a parole hearing. She had a couple guys go in there with her, and basically stood up and attested to support her and everything. And but the most telling thing was when she said that she was in the process of getting her passport updated. That basically turned that whole parole deal around. Okay? She's still waiting to hear what the outcome of the parole was, but basically it just took a turn. And they said they all could tell that when she mentioned that passport, that whole thing took a turnabout.
Mm.
Because basically that is what is needed to set off the charges. The passport is your safe passage, safe harbor. It's also your passbook savings account to set off any charges against the citizen.
So this is why they take the passport away from you when you go to prison?
Well, I don't know. If they did.
Yeah, I have a friend who got out of prison on a phony charge, and he's all the way past parole. He's no longer in the parole system, but they still have his passport.
Well, he needs to get that back.
Okay. I'll get him on that.
Yeah, they can't hold on to that. They can. You pass it over to them, then basically, if they're going to hang on to it, then they better be shutting down that account and giving him everything and getting him totally out of it and giving him a non-citizen national passport.
Okay.
But he still has the right to have a American passport.
Can he just do the 55? Can he do the 55?
See, that's what that passport, USA passport for Ed website was all about. The guy was over in Russia, and basically this guy down in Argentina was trying to tell Ed to basically go down to the American consulate and demand a passport from the state. The State Department has to give you a passport. They can't pull, if they pull the one away, the citizenship passport away, and they can because basically they're treating that as a privilege.
All right.
But you have to come in and say, okay, I surrender that one entirely. Close that one down, and I'm also ordering the closure of my postal savings account. You can no longer utilize that. See that? Postal savings account, that passport number does not go away until it is terminated. It was established when you registered. Okay? So that postal savings account is still there.
So that's why they need your birth certificate of live birth to process that passport application.
Yes, it's processed. Well, let's see, everything in the citizen passport is in the dead world.
Yes,
and that certificate of live birth is a dead instrument. Your driver's license is a dead instrument. Okay? They're deader instruments. They're instruments of the dead. They belong to the book of the dead. Okay? Back in the Pharaoh's time. Okay? Now, when you want a non-citizen national passport, you have to use living documents. You use your Bible entry or your certificate of your hospital birthing certificate with your feet print on it showing some living mark of the living. You also do an affidavit. That is a affidavit of the living. The dead can't do an affidavit. The dead has no will. And that affidavit is your will at that point in time. But this whole postal system is the same, pretty much the worldwide out here that is using this postal monetary system. I don't think there's too many other people out here talking about the passport and about the postal accounts in the same breath. Okay, go ahead and open it up for questions.
Okay. Got questions, guys? He certainly made it simpler for us. We can take the court case and just do the money orders to get our funds, and I guess still do 1099 to do set-offs.
Well, in a court case, you just turn around and you give them a money order in the court.
Yeah.
But also on traffic tickets, you can do a countersigning using your back endorsement to basically put up there using your passport account number and the Treasury routing numbers.
Okay.
Either EIN or Social Security. And then you would put it in that you're coming in as the American National Postmaster under your 9-digit number. So now you have all three numbers there on that in countersigning on the back of a traffic ticket or whatever. You pass it back to them.
Okay. I ran into yesterday a woman who's facing an eviction hearing on Monday, and I suggested to her that she needs a payout order. The house has already been foreclosed on. What process do you suggest that she use to deal with this? A way to actually pay off the foreclosure.
Well, if she has a passport, or basically if somebody else has a passport,
She does. She does.
She does? An active one?
Yes.
Then basically she uses that, her Social Security number, and basically her Postmaster number.
Okay.
And basically does a bill of exchange and passes that in. Say, here's full payment for this.
Do a money order.
It's gone through the sheriff or it's gone through the court, put it into there.
Okay.
Put a stop order in, okay?
Okay. But not a bill of exchange, but a money order?
Yes, a money order. I told you. Forget the bills of exchange. We can't do them.
Right. You mentioned the bill of exchange, and I figured just do that.
I meant money order.
I know.
Okay?
I know. I just wanted to strengthen that. Yeah. Okay. That should simplify it. I thought it would be something like that.
Yeah, but why do people wait till the last damn minute?
Well, I just ran into her. But yeah, and she's scared like hell, and she has a 80-year-old man in her house who has cancer, and it's all disaster. But I think we can work her out of it.
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
Yeah, my question is, I haven't got a valid U.S. passport for a U.S. citizen. The last one I had years ago, and I want a re-application, and I want to get a non-citizen national. Would that be the way to do it? Just fill the DS-11?
You can use. Do you still have the passport?
No. It was expired and long gone. That was years ago.
So you don't know what the passport number is?
No, I do not know the number at this point.
Well, then basically you're going to have to go in and apply using a DS-11 and get a new citizenship passport first.
Oh, I'm stuck in getting a U.S. citizen passport first, or can I just go?
Yes, you have to get that one first, okay? Because you don't know what your account number is, and you need to have that one then to turn around and do the DS-5504. You can't do the DS-5504 unless you have a passport to surrender to them.
Oh, okay. Well, if I could come up with my old passport number, if I could figure out some way to get it, I would be in business, and I can go right to a DS-5504 if I could pull that number. But
you can also, if you get the passport number, then you can do one of these money orders and put it into the Treasury.
Is there any? Excuse me. I was just going to ask you: is there any way that, since I've had that passport years ago, they could look my number up and give my number? Is there any agency or any way I could get that lost number?
If you get on the internet, you might be able to find something about tracking down that. Okay.
Oh.
Or go down to a place, the Secretary of the State's office, write to them and say, you need to find out what that number is, or I don't know. Okay. You're going to have to do that.
I think trashing around the State Department website the other day, I saw that there is a search capability, but you have to pay them $50 to do a search.
Well, that would be worth it if I could, if they could pull my number up, and then I can just go and tell them I want to fill out the US 5504 and send my new my old number in and said I want to retire
well, you
that.
Don't tell them that yet. You just try and get the old passport number first,
and then that's all I do. And then if I get that number, I can do a DS-5504 to start with, and just become a national.
I would say that the thing you really need to do is just get a new U.S. citizen passport. Okay.
And that would require me to pay. How much are they now? 120 or something, or 50?
Almost $150.
Oh, I see.
Total.
I see.
Total and everything else.
So I think it would be better if I could find my old number, but if I don't, it's $150 either way. So I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Get that one first, then you can turn around, do a bill of or a money order, and put it into the Treasury, get some funds out, and then go and do the DS-5504.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
I'm just going to try to track it down.
All right, now, Patrick, my question is are there regulations or are there any stipulations that a federal citizen is bound to as opposed to a non-citizen national when utilizing that passport number? Because I know as a federal
when
citizen,
you become a non-citizen national, that you're pretty much going to be closing down that U.S. citizen postal savings account. Okay.
So then, as operating as a U.S. citizen when using a number, would there be regulations for that?
Yeah, you're under the codes.
Yep.
Okay.
Where when you come out as a non-citizen national, you're not under all these codes. You now have your full rights and privileges back. But when you are a U.S. citizen, you have surrendered all of your rights and liberties for privileges.
So I may or may not be correct in my next statement, but wouldn't that then require us to be aware of any potential regulations that may come by utilizing a money order as a U.S. citizen? Or the Treasury, like what would be the supporting codes that would support utilizing the Treasury?
HR 192.
HR 192?
Yeah. Basically, that's where they took all the funds away from us. Basically, they gave us this means to do these money orders.
Okay.
And basically,
the
IRS has been telling us, hey, give us a money order. Give us a money order. The court say, give us a money order. Give us a money order. And you're the postmaster. So give them a money order. A post office money order.
Okay, Patrick?
Yeah.
With regards to retiring the original Social Security account by creating a new estate with the SS4, is that not in itself an admittance to being a U.S. citizen?
Yeah, you're still in the U.S. citizen side. You just killed off that person, but he's already dead anyway. Okay, you just declared that he's dead.
Why would you want to do a passport on a decedent?
Because you need to have access to the postal savings account. That's the big item on that whole thing. Okay? That's what's giving you your U.S. citizen safe harbor and safe passage is the savings account. Because everything out here, all charges and everything that would be levied against a U.S. citizen are monetary.
Well, I think
they all carry.
I think my question is, if you've already claimed that you're a decedent and you're filing a U.S. passport, isn't that a felony?
No.
On a decedent?
No, you're coming in as the American national. See, the living is an American national postmaster. You're not the citizen. Your dead entity is the citizen. See, people don't know who really they are, okay? You are not the citizen. You never were the citizen. It was a counterfeit document to begin with, that certificate of live birth registration. All that they were doing was taking your rights and everything away from you and putting them on deposit. You have to come in and claim them back. In other words, you have to go get your 9 standing up shovels and put them into the dirt and dig up the Treasury using the 666. We had to find the 3 9s. Everything operates in 3s. We've said that time and time again. Any rebuttal?
No. It's interesting that 27, 9 times 9 times 9 is 3 to the third.
Yeah, and then 2 and 7 also adds up to 9.
Yeah.
Well, everybody is 3 is 9. See, everything is 3s.
Why, though? Well,
yeah, 3 6s is 18.
Yeah, and 1 and 8 comes up to 9.
Huh.
It's all a numbers game.
Yep.
It's the game of 9s or 3s.
Patrick, I think that's funny, that 1 and 8, but technically, if you turn an 8 on its side, it's the infinity symbol, and the 1 is us.
Uh-huh.
I had another thing to bring up real quick. I put it in the chat on the Skype, but it's something I've been looking into, and that's the autograph. And I noticed you sign it, of course, as the American national. If you look up cursive in Wikipedia, or whatever, cursive writing, that's like a curse, and it calls flowing together. When you flow together, the words are conjoined, the letters are conjoined. Supposedly, the whole idea about cursive is that signature, a written out signature, is the signature of the dead. It's worship of the dead. We are supposed to be doing our printing. It's called print writing. And you can just look into that. I mean, it's just something to say, but if you know spelling...
If you put signature, okay, if you put signature down, yes, that is a dead signing. But if you just say by or whatever, that is an autograph, okay?
Well, we know there's a living world and a dead world for everything. So
right.
I'm just thinking that if we're going to be
And
living,
also,
there's no reason we should
if
be
you
print
use
writing.
Mr. in front of your name, that takes care of that right there, because a dead person can't be a Mr. You will never see Mr. on the grave sites. They're no longer a master. And MR also means master. They're dead. So what are they master of? Nothing. Only the living can be a master and have control, because the dead can't control anything.
Well, in the Matrix, they always called him Mr. Smith, and he was the alternative guy. He was always called Mr. Smith.
Yeah, well, basically that was a play on that he was trying to act like he was alive, okay? That's why he unplugged from the system.
Neo. He was the alter ego of Neo, and Neo only has one name, and it means one. One, Neo.
Mm-hmm.
Just stuff to think about, but there's always two sides to everything that you're figuring out.
Yeah.
The switched up 9s over the 6s, everything is two sides. You just got to figure out the mirror.
Yeah.
But every one of these is a little clue. We could be sending these in with a cursive signature, and that could be canceling stuff, and we don't even know it.
Yep. Well, basically, if we sign these the way I've got them, they're going to go. Okay.
Yeah. As long you put by in front of it, that means that you're signing for something else. That's what by means. You have by the free will of, so. But if you just put it straight down, you're trying to be that person. Kind of what Chris was saying, you won't want to be that necessarily that dead person. You want to be for that dead person's name.
Yeah.
By means like agent.
But I'll tell you, okay, all that set aside, the signature is not what has been keeping us from any of this. Mark my word, it's not the signature that has been doing us in.
I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying it's another item of it.
Yeah, I know. But
everything together.
The thing that's been doing us in is we haven't been using the right 3 numbers. Because we didn't know that the passport was as important as it is. That it had the account. We kept thinking that the certificate of live birth or the Social Security was the account. They're not. And see, that certificate, basically, you can cash that certificate in, surrender it in, and turn around and get bonds. But the bonds are being held under the savings account. So when we close this savings account out, we will also be surrendering all of our certificates. But our certificate of live birth, okay, is also showing attachment to the shares of stock that we have at the DTC. Those shares of stock now will have to be transferred, or the dividends coming off those shares of stock will have to be transferred into our national checking account, non-interest-bearing checking account, as a non-citizen national. under our Treasury routing number, which is going to be our 98 or our Foreign Grantor Trust EIN number. And then our checking account number will be our non-citizen national passport number, and then we will have our post office, postmaster office number. We will still have 3 9s, but we will have moved our treasure chest above ground at that point in time. It will no longer be in the postal world. It will be in the post world.
I have one other thing too. Is on the money order, I see at the top, that you have U.S. citizenship postal treasury account. On the passport, like mine, it says citizen/national. There is I talked earlier about this with you too, but there is a U.S. national, there's a U.S. citizen. There's a citizen, there's a national without the U.S. So why couldn't we just use on this to not confuse the issue with these guys and put U.S. citizen, U.S. national treasury account? Why do we have to put U.S. citizen?
This is a U.S. citizen national treasury, okay? Whatever I have at the top there, see, you're coming in as the American National Postmaster, okay? So you're doing a dual function. You're coming in as a national, and you're also, this is also under the U.S. citizenship, the vessel.
Yeah, I understand that.
And the national is accessing that account.
But we have never become U.S. citizens.
We have a U.S. citizen. Okay? We are not the U.S. citizen.
No, we're the U.S. national.
We are an American national.
Right. American national, though, is different than a U.S. national.
We are the United States of America national. Okay?
Right.
So if you use U.S. standing for the United States of America, which it does stand for in some regards, and then also U.S. also stands for United States of America. Okay? So U.S. can stand for 2 different items. One, the nation. One, the country. Don't get them confused and try and say that they're the same. They're not. But they're utilized, and it appears that they're being utilized as the same, but they're not. And that's what's confusing everybody out here in this process, because they don't know how and when the United States is being used as the United States of America or United States of America, the corporation.
Well, that's why I keep trying to point this all out, these little details.
Well, you get to playing with it too much, and you confuse yourself. Okay?
And I'm not trying to confuse it. We're talking as a group, and everybody can understand it. If we can get together and line the 2 sides out, so we know exactly what we're talking about, there will be no confusing.
Well,
like what I was talking
that's
about.
why I try to simplify it down as much as possible. Okay?
You did. I'm just making a suggestion that we keep playing with this idea of citizenship and not citizenship, and it says right there in it was 1802 or whatever that code is. I'll have to look it up. But anyway, it says that the only way you can become a United States citizen is to go before a court.
Yes, and basically everybody did go before a court.
What court?
Your initial application for the certificate of live birth, went in front of a court.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but we
it
didn't
has a
declare it.
registrar stamp on it. It's been probated.
But we were
Yeah.
a baby.
Don't give me that crap there, okay? Your guardian put you in there, okay? It's done. It's over with. I'm giving you the way out, okay? So let's stop crying over spilt beans. The beans are gone, okay? The dog came and ate them up, okay? Now let's continue on and let's get on with our life, okay?
All right.
But every one of those certificate of live births went in front of a court. They were processed through the clerk of the court's office.
Yeah, they were probated.
Yes. And then they went into the registrar's office.
That may be the way it happened. I wanted to bring up before I forgot.
No, that is the way it happened, okay? No ifs, ands, or buts. That is what had to happen. Okay? It had to be a court action to have it done.
Okay. Off that, back to that cursive idea, it's called penmanship. So we say the pen is mightier than the sword. Pen, and the next words are manship. Penmanship. That's what writing is. So when we're writing all these things out and not printing it, that's why printing overtakes writing. I mean, writing overtakes printing on documents because it's penmanship. It's from an actual man.
When
all these
you
little
write
things are important.
When you write your name out, okay, to where it's not just like typing your name, okay, then it has to have motion involved in it. And the dead does not have motion, do they?
Right.
Okay? That's all it's about, is motion. The living has motion and the dead doesn't. Now, if you print your name, basically, is this the living guy or is this the dead guy? That's simple. You put an X on there. Is it the living guy or is it the dead guy? You don't know. And basically, a court will presume the wrong way every time to your demise.
They're pretty stupid if they think a dead guy can write.
But a dead guy can sign an X.
Of course, we know they're kind of stupid anyway.
Yeah, just put the pen in his hand and then just sort of move it across the paper. Okay, are we done with signatures and autographs and printing? Really doesn't make that much difference, okay? The three numbers are the big thing here. That's what we've been looking for. Just like
under
in a lot of
the
these
money
movies.
order box, under the
What?
money order box, you have American National Postmaster, then a dash. Is that where you want the zip code number in there above our signature?
Yeah, in that American National Postmaster, yeah, you put your zip code plus your 4-digit number there.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, and that's the same number that is up there for U.S. Post-Office number. That is your zip code plus your 4-digit number up there too.
Right.
Yeah.
And the all caps name and our delivery post office address?
Yep. Just like what pretty much use the same form how the IRS sends it to that address.
Hmm.
That's your delivery address. And then you've got to go down, you've got to dig it up out of the ground because that's going to the gravito site, and you've got to dig it up.
Patrick?
Yeah.
I'll just share some information for the group from the U.S. Passport Service Center that I went to, that hub. They give me information that you can obtain your passport records under the Freedom of Information Act, and I think it's probably under the online site of travel.state.gov. And if that doesn't work for them, and there should be a place where you can skip down to where it says obtain passport records for issued 1925 to present, or there's another line, obtain passport records for issued prior to 1925. And if that doesn't work, there's an 800 number. It's 877 487-2778. That's the information that I got from the hub.
Okay,
Yes,
thanks a lot, Marshall. Hopefully that helps the guys that were in question to try and get that.
I've called that number, and they're quite helpful people, actually.
Right. And now they'll direct you, hopefully, to where you can obtain your records for people that had one or whatever, and that's a toll-free number too. Just pass that on, so it's on the call. People can go back and review the information and go there and try to get help getting your records or getting your passport up to date.
Can you do that number again? 800?
877.
877, okay.
487.
487.
2778.
2778. Good, thank you.
And the online was travel, is TRAVEL dot state, STATE dot GOV.
Right. That's the passport.
So if you want to post that up, if you want to post that up on the Yahoo site, Tom, there's the information for you.
Okay.
Thanks, Marshall.
You're more than welcome.
Okay, any more questions? Didn't we interrupt a woman who wanted to ask a question?
Now, if you don't have a bank account, but you have a family member, and they're willing to go along with you, you can make one of these money orders out to them. Okay? And then basically when they endorse that and deposit it, now that they have forced the bank to process that. Okay? So the bank at that point in time does not need to have a copy of your passport on hand. They have to process that through the Treasury routing and through the citizen postal account number, but they have to send it to the Treasury. So that way,
or you can just go put it in the Dropbox, right?
If you don't have your passport, you can, but you do have your passport number, you can turn around and process this thing through.
Good.
So you've got to think outside the box on several of these items.
Yep.
That we can make this work.
Okay, that's a good out for people who don't have a passport but who need to do something quickly.
Yeah. And you can basically pay bills with this if you get them to accept it.
Okay.
Yeah, say, here, run this through the bank. I've gotten all the pertinent information. This is valid. As the bank tries to defer and deny that, then you have them, because you're going to put a 3-cent stamp on this. That now becomes mail. You have mailed that in, and you've told them where it needs to go. And then it also, if they do not, they are in violation of mail and banking laws.
Amen and hallelujah.
Okay? See, you've got to start standing up and enforcing your rights, even like at that International Court of Trade. Basically, I was throwing everything at that damn clerk. And basically, towards the end there, he says, I said, you know, if you don't comply with this, I said, I'm not accepting that back. That basically you haven't given me a valid reason why this is being rejected. You can't reject this for rule violations. And I said, I can enforce the law on this. And basically I said, I could see you going to jail. And he came back, well, you're threatening me? You're threatening me? I said, if you consider enforcing the law a threat, go ahead. Consider it a threat. But enforcing the law is not a threat. You're in violation of the law, and basically you will be processed if that's the case. See, you don't have to take stuff off of these people. They're the public servants. We're not the public slaves to them that everybody thinks we are. You have to stand your ground, and especially when you've got a passport.
Okay.
Yeah, you may have signed over your rights and liberties, but you have protected privileges right now under their codes.
Eplo just posted on the call group here a long URL that on how to obtain copies of passport records. I'll put that on the Yahoo group.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. Okay, any other questions?
Like they said in Interstate 60, and you can take that to the bank.
Yep.
Huh.
I don't know. How did that come across on the group site there after you, when I sent it to you, Tom, on the PDF? Did it come out pretty legible to where the people
Well,
could
yes, it is readable, but I see that, who was it, Gita or Pat, added your definitions to it. And I'll see if I can add the definitions to it. And I've got a friend. It's usable to print it out and write on it. Or if you
the definitions didn't come through on the copy
not
to you?
not the one that you gave me.
I did it in Word. Did Tom?
Yeah.
I did my copy in Word, so you can expand on it if you want.
Right. But I'll see if I can add that into the PDF.
Okay.
Because the money order format of what you did in Word isn't as good as what Patrick had.
Right.
But the definition, and the definitions are in very good shape.
Right.
Okay, now one other thing, okay, on the endorsement, I changed that around on the one that I sent in, okay? So here's what I had for endorsement. Endorsement is founded upon this transaction being completed in 3 days as required in honor by the U.S. U.S. Treasury. So I put the 3 days in that endorsement statement that I had there as a required in honor by the U.S. Treasury.
Okay. Endorsement is founded upon this transaction being completed in 3 days, and that's as far as I got.
As a required in honor by the U.S. Treasury.
Okay, in honor by the... Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll modify that.
And then if you want to change the authorized signature to endorsed by, and then just say authorized representative. Take off signature.
Okay, good.
Okay.
I have a friend who's going to walk me through Adobe tomorrow, and we'll try to clean this up in the PDF. It's a little rough being through the facts, but it's quite readable. But it isn't as clean as the other documents were, but it's very usable.
Yeah, and then when you get to the delivery in cash, you have two options there, either to the presentee or to post office address.
Right.
You would circle which one you want in red.
Oh, okay.
And then you would put an NA in deposit into commercial bank if you want it in cash.
Okay. Or I was thinking if you wanted, I wanted it to deposit to my Direct Express account. I would just strike out commercial bank, right in Direct Express after.
No, that Direct Express account is a commercial bank.
Oh, well, yes, that's right. The bank is actually Commercia.
Yes.
But we don't have the routing number for. I guess I could locate them and get the routing number.
Yeah, I think we've come across the routing numbers there before.
Okay, I'll call Commercia Bank and try to get their routing number. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, I wanted to say something else.
When you have them deliver in cash, do they deliver it in silverback dollars?
Well, they'll basically look about the same, but hopefully those dollar bills are registered as they cannot come out of circulation because they're now backed by lawful currency.
Okay.
They should be a marking, a number, or something like that on there. It's going to be slightly different. You won't normally be able to tell, and most other people won't be able to tell that dollar bill has not come out of circulation. Only when it goes into the Federal Reserve banks and the Treasury agents, like in the movie Mad Money, sit there and basically take out all the currency that's been there for 3 years and scrap that money and then replace it with new dollar bills. These dollar bills, if they get worn or anything like that, they have to be replaced with the same serial number.
Mm-hmm.
I would think we would try to set up some kind of a card system and contract with the bank. That way, you know what, using Federal Reserve notes at all, you just, swiping your way, nobody knows nothing.
Yeah.
Should we add to this for delivery in cash in lawful money to the presentee?
No. Just put it in cash. Basically, what comes out of that savings account is going to be lawful currency.
Okay.
It's not going to be debt money.
Good.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I do have a question. On this DS 5504 form, I just got it. I'm holding it in my hand, and it starts out with, "Can I use this form?" A big question mark, and it lists 3 questions, and it says if you answer no to all of these statements above, stop. You cannot use this form. So if I'm going to go in and claim as an American national, it said, but the questions were, I'm
I
changing.
know what the questions are.
Oh, okay.
But you only need to answer yes to one of those questions. It says you can't use this form if you answer no to all 3.
Oh.
So if you answer yes to one of them, you can use that form.
So figure out which one to answer to, yes to.
You understand? See, you were reading and saying something, and you were thinking that I couldn't use this because if I answer no to all these, basically I'm done. But you're going to answer yes to at least one of them to use that form. You don't need to answer yes to all 3 of them. You just need to answer yes to one of them.
Have you heard anything back from the one you sent in, Patrick?
No. But I'll tell you, as soon as we send these money orders in, and they know that we know how to access the account now, we're going to get some attention. That's why I sent one of them to the Secret Service. I want those guys to come back and talk to me and say, "Here, I told you I'd get out of the system."
Yeah. They'll come back to you and say, "Show me how you did it."
So they're going to say, "You're under arrest. You can remain silent."
No, they ain't going to do that. I know.
I'm just joking with you, Pat.
I know.
Give them all name tags that say Mr. Smith.
Yeah.
I'm actually Neo.
And wear your own, yeah, it says Neo on it.
They're probably going to be so damn shell-shocked that they're just going to want to come down here and just shake my hand. You finally did it, you damn shithead.
Yeah, you've been costing them a couple $2 billion in your whole process of delivery of paperwork.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. I've got I don't know how many tables, and I don't know how much paperwork over the last years I've already thrown away of what I've sent into them. So, yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't give you the answer just to get you off their back.
I know. That's what I was hoping for.
You made that post office a lot of money, too.
Oh.
Yeah, but he'll get it all back.
Right.
Yeah. That's why basically you don't want to seek revenge. You're going to get more than than the revenge would ever give you back in happiness. Okay. So this is none of this is about revenge. Okay. So we lost a house. So we lost a little time. There's still life left out here. Let's go and enjoy it.
So if I take this to a local bank and I want to get some cash, are they going to have the lawful currency there?
It's not going to make any difference to you, okay?
Okay. Just take it and run.
Yeah. Basically, it'll spend the same, okay?
Yep.
And then basically you spend anything out in the process, you can turn around and you get a receipt, okay?
Uh-huh.
For most of this stuff. Well, basically you get a receipt like from the gas station. You turn around and you put the 1099 OID in now using the right account numbers, and basically they will pay you that back.
Right.
Okay? So you're getting your compensation back then. Again.
So if, in reality, if you had $30,000 instead of $1 billion, you could recycle that for the rest of your life and not even need any more than $30,000 or whatever your expenses is for a year. So whether you have, you can recycle the money or you have $10 billion, you don't need it.
Unless you were dealing with ma and pa places.
Right.
Okay?
You take.
To where they're not out there like the utility companies, to where they're going out and borrowing from our account, okay, from the postal savings accounts, and they have to pay the interest back.
Right.
Okay?
So for the people who object to paying off the bank because they really aren't owed the money, it doesn't make a difference because you can get that money back with an OID.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, the
now
bank
that's
don't loan
as
you
long
anything
as
anyway.
that's as long as you still have your post item out here, and then basically once you get out of the postal savings account side, you're going to be operating a heck of a lot different. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably go out and set up your own oil company.
Well, we can start, starting all the farms that have been lost over the years and just, support them or finance them or just give them the money, interest free.
Basically, you take them off the books, so now you don't owe property taxes or anything like that. You only owe service fees. Okay? Like the road repair or something like that in front of your property. Fire protection, police protection. Okay?
Yeah,
you'll still need to pay for those.
You go
but
contract
just for services. If you don't have any children in school, you don't have to pay the school taxes. Of course, you don't have to do that now either if you know what you're doing. When you do a countersigning on the back of the property taxes, you can do a counterclaim and claim that you do not owe the school taxes because you have no children in school or you're homeschooling your own children, whatever.
Well, I was involved in a court case in town here. I did another approach. I went to the town and I asked them where the contract was because I showed them the DUNS number that they're a private corporation doing business as. And I was in court and I got dismissed. And then I've been here not paying property tax for like almost 8 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I have no contract with the town. They're a foreign corporation. I got them for trying to embezzle my funds. All the rest of the story. So I took the approach that way because I can't pay any town taxes. They already double dip. They lien our accounts.
Yeah.
So when you pay a town tax, they're double dipping. And just like everything else, you can't pay off a mortgage with this stuff because there's nothing to pay off.
But did you ever have that property registered?
No.
It was never registered.
Never recorded it. It was a private transaction.
Okay.
I get the original
then they could not lawfully put a charge against that. Period. Yeah. But
Nope.
if you had if you ever registered your property,
right.
Okay, then it stays on the books, and that's what I was telling one other guy about driver's license. That driver's license will stay on the books until you basically shut down this postal savings account. You just don't know it. You may think that you don't need a driver's license anymore, but basically they're still writing charges against that driver's license. The same thing with the certificate of title to the vehicle, the certificate of title to the property.
It's everything.
You may have done something out here, but in most cases, they are still utilizing that as collateral. You just don't know it. The people that basically have surrendered their voter registration they are still a citizen, a U.S. citizen, registered voter. But they've just sort of taken it off the books, but the account is still being utilized in the background. It's buried, okay? Because this is a postal system. So it's buried. You can't see it, but it's still there. That's why you need to get in and close this postal account down. And we will do that as soon as we get our first confirmation and get some money out of them, then prove that we have access to that account. Then all we have to do is turn around and do the next money order into them and say amount, full value, and then memo line, closure of this postal savings account.
Hey, Patrick, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I asked them at the voters registration to send me a cancellation. So they sent me something in the mail saying, you want to cancel your voter registration, blah, blah, blah. And then they said, list the reason why, and they give you a couple of choices. So I just put as my wish, and then I sent it in. I never heard a thing from them. Does that mean that it's canceled?
No, it's not canceled. No. See, it's buried.
It's buried. Oh.
It's buried in their books, but it is still active on their rolls. They can still, when they pass a bill in the Senate or the House or whatever, and see, every time they pass a bill, it is now charged against all the registered voters out there. But your registered voter is buried away, but it is still being utilized. That's what you don't see, because now it's buried in their books to where they're not going to show it to you. And you think that it's gone, but it's not. The only way that you can assure that it's gone is to remove the funds that support that document. And that is by closing down the postal savings account. Now they have nothing to charge anything off to.
Closing that down, basically.
You take the money away from them. That's how you control government.
Okay.
Okay?
Thanks.
That's the best answer I can give you.
Yeah, we just got to close it down with the bill of exchange.
Yeah, and we will basically just do that after we get some confirmation out of them, either send it into the Treasury or through the bank and process it through and have that I would even if you do send one into the bank, I would still send one into the Secretary of Treasury's office for like $500,000 or $1 million.
That's not an OID, like lunch money, right?
Huh?
That's not a lunch money OID. It's just a bill of exchange.
No, it's not an OID. You don't do an OID with this. You just do this money order.
Yeah, I sent in my national passport, so hopefully it'll go through.
Well, it may or may not. They may come back and say, well, your account is in the process of being closed already, so just hang loose. Or it may expedite getting that national passport and having everything transferred over to that account. One way or the other, you're going to get a visit. I can almost guarantee it. Because you've shown them the 3 9s.
Oh, I don't know if I'm ready for a visit.
Oh, yeah, you are.
I don't know, Pat should get the visit first. You, then Pat, then me, right? Whatever.
Just stand your ground to them. Basically, they're just human like everybody else, okay? And
I met
basically,
with
if
the
you
FBI
kick them in the right place, they'll come to their knees.
As Pat knows, I met with the FBI 3 weeks ago. I went over all the stuff with him in an hour. They had a state cop with him. They basically gave me the go-ahead because they know they couldn't help me anymore, basically, because they know where I was going, and they just says, good luck, you're on your own, and because they had to come down and see what I was doing because the Secretary of State wanted to know what was going on, so they sent down the FBI. So
yeah, in a lot of cases, most of them are just down there to try and intimidate you. And basically, you've got to know that you can't be intimidated, okay? Laugh it up, okay? Show them a good time. Make sure you got coffee and donuts for them.
Or Twinkies.
Yeah, Twinkies, yeah.
Well, we met at Dunkin' Donuts, so.
Yeah. And just sort of time it out, basically about the time you get in, when it gets into there, and then expect maybe a day or two later, make sure you start stocking up on donuts and coffee.
Well, I was told, I knew somebody did this, well, not personally, about 5 years ago, but he went off the map, and we lost touch of him. But I do know they do have to come and see you. You have to write your signature down 5 times. They take your thumbprint, your voice scan, and probably your retina and your ears now. But they do have to process you their way so they know who you actually are, and you will get visited because they have to.
Yes, because now you're going to go into the checking account side of the Treasury. And see,
well, the thing is, when they take all those fingerprints and eyes, that's of a real man now, so it's not a fiction.
It's also the real man, and basically it's also for the protection that you are now coming into the real Treasury, just like Jason Bourne in Bourne Identity, when he went into that bank in Switzerland. He had to put his handprint. But it was all about an account number. And see, we needed our 3 9s. I don't know how many numbers there was in that account number, but I know it was a lot more than 9 in the thing. They showed it a couple times there. I tried to freeze it, and when I was watching the movie, but he had to do a hand scan to basically get into the vault area to access his safety deposit box. No, in a lot of cases, this is going to be more for your protection so that nobody else can attack your account with all those items. Plus, also, they need to get all of the other, like, certificates. You have to sign them over, like what I read before about the postal certificates, instruments issued to postal savings depositors, which could be surrendered in exchange for United States bonds. So you're going to have to surrender all of those postal certificates, like the certificate of live birth, like the certificate of title to your vehicle, like the certificate of title to your property. Those all have to be surrendered.
Only if they were in your name.
Now, why would you surrender something that's not in your name?
No, I mean if you have 2 people's name on it, yours and somebody else.
Well, basically, you're going to have to get the other person to surrender his portion too.
Oh well.
Or you get rid of him before they come. You take the baseball bat or the frying pan and straighten him out.
Yeah, I got both. I got a baseball bat and a frying pan.
Okay. I mean, it's a hell of a note when married couple have to split up, and basically they're supposed to be working together.
Well, the fact is, nobody is married. It's only a 90-day contract, and you never got full disclosure, so actually nobody's married. You know, it's
well, the other thing is basically you buy him out.
Mm-hmm.
Give him a postal money order and buy him out.
Yep.
Or like in the movie Burlesque. Okay? Very good movie. I love that. Okay?
What is the name of it?
Burlesque.
Oh, Burlesque.
Yeah, with Cher.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, good singing and dancing and everything. Little risque, but basically it had a bunch of good bylines in it. Okay? And see, at the very end, basically, they got the money out of thin air. They bought up the air rights over the property so that nobody could build and deprive them of their view. And that's one of the big things that's out there in California, is air rights. To where another building can't come and build in front of you and block your view if you were already pre-established. But you have to come in and claim the air rights before that other building ever gets going. And basically she bought her ex-husband out of the contract for the Burlesque building there. Now, I've shown you how to get the money. Now you can buy out.
Yep.
Patrick?
Yeah.
Just point of clarification, when we're signing for the American National Postmaster, that would be where we will be putting our fingerprints again then?
I put my thumbprint there and then embossed it and then put my thumper over the embossment so it stood out.
Okay.
And then I put a stamp up in the corner, a 3-cent stamp, and
Yep.
I put my thumbprint there and then initialed or signed and dated that stamp. So that now that money order is also marked as being mailed.
Right.
Yeah.
But we don't have to do anything on the back side when we sign it back there.
No, I just signed it as the endorser.
Correct. Just wanted to clarify that for everybody out there.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for mentioning that.
But you can change that from authorized signature to authorized representative if you want to, or just whatever you want to say. You don't even need to put anything underneath there. You can just say endorsed by.
Right.
Yeah, and let them try and figure out who in the hell the endorsed by person is. Keep them guessing a little.
Right. Thank you.
Okay.
So it looks like this will be a nice method to glide in for a nice landing there, Patrick.
I think it will be.
And it's simpler and simpler.
Amen.
You're going to have to try and get me the prices on those cars, or send me a text message or something, those contact places, so I can call them up when I get all this funds, so I can get that hover car.
Wow. You want a hover car, huh?
Well, you know the first thing I'm going to do for you, Pat, when I get
What's
the funding, I'm going to pay for internet service for you.
Oh, but I don't know where I'm going to be. That's the problem. I may be in Timbuktu.
Well, I'll get you satellite internet. How's that sound?
I don't know whether the satellites cover Timbuktu anymore. I think that was sort of a fictitious place. I don't know whether there really is a place called Timbuktu or not.
There is.
Yeah, it's in Nepal.
What?
It's in Nepal.
Oh.
Yeah, I know a guy that'll be your guide.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually saw it on a map because I was curious. 20, 30 years ago, I validated that there's a Timbuktu.
Okay.
Yeah, there's also a Cucamonga.
Well, I like the ones up there in Pennsylvania, Intercourse, and what the hell is the other one?
That's right.
Which one?
Intercourse, I saw that. And there's another one,
yeah, there was a couple risque ones up there. Sort of like Peyton Place.
How about Fertile, Minnesota?
Yeah, that's a good one, too.
And then you go to Embarrass, Minnesota.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, there's also Uranus.
Yeah, Uranus, that's one. Some of those old people basically knew how to play a joke on people.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably still laughing.
The town I live in was the first riot in the country. It was called a Pine Tree Riot, and the name of our town is We Are. That's it. We Are New Hampshire. WEARE.
That's great.
Okay, any other questions about this? Okay, I expect a whole bunch of money orders to be going out in the mail first thing in the morning.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
I'll be doing it.
And I just put a simple little cover sheet when I sent that to the Secretary of Treasury to process the attached money order. And basically, and like I also sent a cover sheet there to the Secret Service. And see, the Secret Service is a branch of the Treasury. Okay? They were initially set up. They're still a branch of the Treasury. And that was confirmed documented in a movie called, it was either White House Down or the other one about blowing up the White House, taking over the White House, to where one of the guys was a Secret Service agent, and then basically he got removed from being on the detail for protecting the president, and he went back to operating out of the Treasury Department.
Isn't that Olympus? Olympus Has Fallen?
Yeah, that's Olympus Has Fallen. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was the one with Kevin Costner.
Was that Kevin Costner in that?
Sure rings a bell when you said that.
Gerard Butler.
Who?
Gerard Butler, I think, was the guy in that.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
Kevin Costner was in The Postman.
Yeah, he was in The Postman, and forget who the other guy in White House, the other one about the White House.
White House.
He was a wannabe Secret Service agent.
Yeah.
And he became a Secret Service agent at the very end, after he saved the president.
Hey, Pat, are you going to get your internet back? Because I got some cool links to show you. You need to read them.
I don't know. I think I'm going to take a vacation.
You need
Get
one.
lost in the crowd.
Well,
But I'll be around. I'll be around. Okay?
Okay.
We need to get together and drink to our success.
Yeah. I'll be monitoring.
Would that be carrot juice or wheatgrass?
I don't need to be out front anymore. I'm done. I've given you all the answers. So the only thing I ask is pass the word.
Right.
Okay? This is what most people are sitting there waiting for proof. They're just a whole bunch of doubting Thomases out here, and they're also chicken littles and fence sitters. Well, there's quite a few different names you could throw out.
That's for sure.
But sometimes even when you show proof, people are just afraid.
Yeah.
Flash some cash at.
Yeah, but the other thing is, basically, you know people that are in prison, and like I told a couple other people, I said, the sheriff's office, basically, you can go down there and get a free set of fingerprints at any time on a blue card. Okay? The sheriff's office will not charge you for getting those fingerprints. I've done this numerous times when I was in nuclear power, and basically they needed to have an updated inspection, so that I would get a set of fingerprints, send those in, and then they would do a background check with the FBI in different places out there when I was working in nuclear power. Also, when I went to apply or take the Securities and Exchange commodity brokers test, I had to get a set of fingerprints to have a background check run. So I went down to the sheriff's office and got a set of fingerprints. Now, you can go in there and get a set of fingerprints without a driver's license on it or without a Social Security number on it. And I did that too. And then they also are very good at taking mug shots. That same camera that takes a mug shot is the same, pretty much the same type camera that the post office uses to take a passport picture, or the DMV uses to take your driver's license picture. So you could possibly get them to take your passport pictures for you. Now, you need to have a notary. The sheriff's department will not charge you for notary service. Why? That guy that's out there charging for all of his information, called Sheriff Mack, and his cohorts, they never mention any of that in their statements of what the sheriff's office can do. He should have been telling people that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they can do a notary, they can do mug shots, and they can do fingerprinting, they can also do an attestation on the DS-11 passport application. So anybody that is in jail there can request to have a passport and basically get that processed and basically, therefore, get out of jail. Because as soon as they get the passport, they pass the book over to basically set off the charges. Now, if you have done a criminal violation, an actual criminal violation, no, that's not going to work. You're going to do the time. But if it's just a one of their fictitious criminal charges that you haven't paid your traffic tickets, or basically you're negligent in child support or something like that, that's bullshit. Those can be set off by the passport and a money order. We ought to be able to start emptying the prisons with the word gets out the right way. As the people come out and are willing to get on with their life and not go about trying to seek revenge. But if they come out and they're still wanting to seek revenge, leave them in jail. Please. We don't need those type people out in society. Okay? Any other questions? Okay.
I guess not.
We're pretty much done.
Yeah, we're pretty much done, and thank you again very much. This has been quite a...
Thanks for your persistence.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks,
You
Patrick.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
thanks,
Pat.
Pat.
Okay.
Yeah, back.
Bye.
Okay.
I'll send
Later.
you a check
Bye.
for the internet as soon as I get funded
Yeah,
next week.
Well, I'll probably have more than enough money here because I sent one in for $500,000 and the other one for $250,000. So I think I could afford the internet if I wanted. Okay.
I'm
And,
just joking.
All right.
Okay. You guys
Thank
take
you.
care.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye now.
Love you. Yeah.